each other through it. Come on and see, good movement draws good movement.
Welcome to Good Movement Draws Good Movement, the podcast where farmers, ranchers, and rural folks can grow relationally through awareness, understanding, and effective communication. Hey, it's T. I'm your host, and I, along with my guests, will be covering topics related to drawing good movement. Things like self and social awareness, brain science, positive psychology, extending grace, and so much more. We'll share tools that can help you understand why you are the way you are, why others are the way they are, and how you can use that to step out of self-told lies with grace and compassion to draw good movement in conversations, relationships, and life in rural America. Let's go draw good movement. Welcome back to the Good Movement Draws Good Movement podcast. Today, I'm really excited because I have my internet friend, Caroline Nelson, on. Caroline is a rancher of sheep and cattle, a store owner, retreat host, former and maybe future podcast host, and an advocate for small and local and sustainable. And I'm so excited to have you here, Caroline. That's the little bio thing that I wrote up, but would you take a minute and tell people a little more about you and how you got where you are?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I like to think of myself as kind of a little bit of a bear poker, a little bit of, let me look at the other side of that. And I feel like that's been my whole life and various careers. I live in Montana with my husband and our 2-year-old son. My husband and I opened a feed store 2 years ago. That's also a local food store. And one of our taglines is kind of crunchy, kind of punchy. And I feel like that's encompasses our whole ethos. We're very small scale ranchers. We're into the whole regenerative, rotational grazing, yada, yada. And I'm always into I'm into systems, how they're working, how they're not working. And used to host the Choose Wisely podcast, which is choose CHEWS, all about food. And I think I'll get back into it again. But that's pretty much me. My other background is as a musician, singer-songwriter, kind of in my first life when I got out of school. Met my husband at the gas station in this little town where I was ranch handing, and pretty much that changed my life. And here we are 16 years later.
Okay, I'm a huge fan of your music, if you didn't know that.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Any listeners want to find Caroline on streaming platforms, it's Caroline Reese. And her music's amazing.
Thank you. Every now and then I listen back and I'm like, I love this version of me. Good on you for trying, and you didn't make it, and you still put out really beautiful art that I think holds up, and I'm really proud of it.
Well, I'm glad you're proud of it because I love it. So part of the reason that I asked Caroline to come on is because I feel like we've been kind of on parallel healing journeys. And Caroline's been sharing on Instagram, kind of in real time almost, what you're doing, what you're finding. And I just wanted her to share with everyone who listens what's happening. So what was kind of your first step down the healing journey?
I burned out about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I had a baby. We opened a feed store 3 months later, and then I ran 8 retreats that summer while trying to breastfeed. And the retreats were somewhere 4 hours away from our house. So what I realize now is I was really attached to motherhood's not going to change me. I'm still going to be this powerhouse businesswoman. I can do it all. I can do it all. And I really wanted to keep that narrative. And so I was willing to almost kill myself to do it. And we had also this financial situation where we were opening this feed store and we needed the revenue from the retreats to kind of prop that up because we couldn't get traditional financing, blah, blah, blah. Of course, this is a box I painted ourselves in. We did all this eyes wide open. And what happened was I got done with the retreats. Running the retreats was actually fine because I'm not sure if you're like this. I'm an Enneagram 3. I know you know a lot about Enneagram. And nothing's going to slow me down when it's go time. I will perform. I will perform, when I'm at 0. But what happened was I got home and I just knew something wasn't right in my body. I couldn't sit with myself, not for 10 seconds. It was like phone had to be out, podcast had to be on, TV show had to be on, had to be sweeping my house. And every time I tried to just stop, it was like these feelings were like coming up out of the center of my chest and choking me. And so what I said to myself was like, well, okay, time to deal with this. Something's going on. And I'll just give myself a few months. Let's take a few quiet months. We'll deal with this all in like 3 months. And then I'll go back to operating how I was operating. Like, cool. Okay, let's begin. And that was the start of what's been now like 2 years.
I'm laughing over here because I'm like, oh, that's cute. You thought it was going to only take 3 months. But saying that from a place of doing this work for years and knowing that, like, I thought the same thing. Let's just get this done quick and it'll be done and we'll move on.
Yep. And I'm like super delusional. It's sort of one of my daily traits that I love about myself is just like setting impossible goals and then meeting them. But it's the hilarious approach to my healing journey. Yeah, just deal with it in 3 months. It'll be fine. All on my own. And my body will just work through it all. And then I'll emerge healed.
It's comical looking back, but it kind of sucks when you're in the thick of it.
What started to happen was I was like, let me just get off my phone. Let me just see what happens if I can try to put my phone down. And I realized that immediately it was like 10 other addictions popped up. All of a sudden, I was like addicted to a clean house or addicted to busyness. I would like create tasks out of nowhere and then make myself feel behind all day trying to catch up on these made up tasks. So then I'm like, that's weird. I seem to have like a dopamine thing. So let me try to just like, what about a super low dopamine? We like staffed up the feed store. I offloaded my responsibilities to the bare minimum. I was like, what if I just make myself do nothing? And then what happened was like unbelievable waves of shame. And I'm like, what do I do with this? I've been in therapy. I thought I was like kind of like good, quote unquote good. What I realized now I had intellectualized, I'd wrap my head around everything that had happened in my life. Real good. The body was still back there. And so one of the turning points for me, I was at a Reiki session, which has been this like really, really impactful modality for me. And I don't go that often because it's so potent. I'm like, I don't want to wear this out. Like, I only go in times of need. So I get to the Reiki session and I'm used to having these like transformational sessions. Like I'm weeping, my ancestors are like telling me they'll be with me in childbirth. Like I have these really intense Reiki sessions. And this one, super light, no messages, easy breezy. And all I keep hearing is, you are good. And I get done with the session and I'm like, oh, didn't get my money's worth. Like, I know I'm good. Duh. Like, why would that be the message I get? How boring. I'm like waiting for the big revelation and I'm driving home talking to myself. Of course I'm good. Obviously, I know I'm good. Well, except for when I do something bad. And maybe it's not when I do something bad. It's just when I do something wrong or like imperfect or I don't bring my best self to everything. And like, well, that's kind of a lot, I'm not sure like actually how often I am. Maybe I'm good like half the time. And I'm starting to do this math of like, well, no, I'll just be good when I fix all my flaws. Then I'll be good. I love myself, no biggie. And it hit me like a freight train that I don't think I'm good at all. Essentially, I had no worthiness. All I had was ego. And when I start pulling this apart, and it's funny because I've always had these really public careers, outward facing, feedback oriented, validation oriented. I couldn't just be a rancher. I had to be a rancher on social media, and realizing just how I had built this whole house of cards around my identity that was entirely tied to my work and how people saw me. And that was the real beginning.
When you were talking about, I just tried to take a break from my phone and then all these other addictions would pop up. And I'm like, yeah, because the thing is not inherently addictive.
Boom. Mm-hmm.
But it's
not the phone. And I know these things are addictive, but it's not the phone. And everyone's like, get the Brick app, get the whatever. I'm like, sure. If that's helpful to you, great. I don't want a gadget. I'm the problem. I'm aware that it's me. And the phone is simply a device that is giving me feedback on my wellness. And so like, I'm going to work on that and I'll know when I'm healed.
Yeah. Like, yes. So much yes. Before school started this year, we had a back to school meeting, and there's a new phone policy at school where they have to turn their phones in. And we had this big talk about how phones are affecting kids' mental health. And I was like, well, that's kind of a chicken egg situation, I think.
Oh, love that perspective. It's so true. Everything's a mirror.
So I was like, yes. And when you just try to get rid of the one thing, the other things pile on until you get to the thing. And how fascinating that what you got was you are good. So then what did you do with that information?
Well, first I started to try to get myself to believe it. So I would journal, like I would tell myself multiple times a day, you are good. You've always been good. You will always be good. There's nothing you can do that will make you not good. And I found that part of my process is like, I need to repeat something or practice something for quite a while until it sinks into my bones. So for a while I'm saying that and it's just on my periphery. It's not really baking in. And then I start to like believe it. And the other thing that helps me believe it is evidence. Like I would look at my life. I am good. I am fair. I am positive. I am support. Like I would pick out kind of the structures of my life and the way I interact with people and also use that as evidence. Like not that I need not validation. There's a difference between validation and evidence. Like I was seeking real evidence in my life that I was good. And so that helped. And then I started working with a spiritual counselor and she had me do anger work. Have you done any of this? You've done anger work.
I've done anger work, but I think in a different way than you've done anger work.
Mine was like anger letters, and she has a whole modality. I don't want to like share her practice, but essentially through writing and through ritual of like stirring up the anger, being totally on your own side, and letting yourself embrace that anger as a way to metabolize it, neutralize it, and then kick yourself out of shame. Because if you're into the work of Dr. David Hawkins and the kind of emotional frequencies of states of your feelings, shame is the very lowest potency of emotion, lowest frequency. When you're in shame and guilt, it's very, very dark. And essentially, I lived there. And anger is higher. If you can get to anger, you can get to acceptance and neutrality, which is actually kind of on your way to the more like enlightened feelings and when life starts really going well for you. So I did quite a bit of anger work. And I realized like I had never been on my own side before doing that. Like I was always both sidesing my own experience. And I would say things like, well, that person really effed me over, but if I had acted perfect, they wouldn't have had to do it. Like I was taking responsibility for both sides of all the interactions of my life and like gaslighting myself, essentially being like, well, other people are starving, you know, like, so that's like just a little betrayal. And the other thing that had happened was kind of in this burnout period, right before I started my kind of like awakening work, basically, was that I had 3 major back-to-back betrayals that I had never had anything like this in my life. And it was essentially a wake-up call. It kicked me out of operating naively. Like I had this weight because I had no worthiness and I was totally outward oriented. I was kind of like putty in everyone's hands. It was basically like wearing a sign on my forehead that said, manipulate me. And I was replicating childhood patterns with anyone in my life that was like withholding approval, anyone in my life that was, you know, tricky, or I would like, you know, twist myself into a little pretzel to gain that approval, you know, earn it over and over. And so these betrayals were also part of this kind of awareness, worthiness work of someone did something to me and I didn't deserve that. And it was the first time that I actually was like, I didn't deserve that.
Isn't that kind of a weird place to be in? Because as an Enneagram 9, I can't not see lots of shades of gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Where you can see like what shaped their behavior or why they might be behaving the way they do. And then also being aware that that behavior is not okay. when your whole life you've lived on the other side of that. Like getting to the middle of the pendulum, so to speak, is a weird and wonderful place to be.
I started acting different almost immediately after I started doing this anger work. And what would happen, this is an example. I love this example. It was so big for me. Somebody came up to me and they start venting about their husband. And I'm like, I used to be down for those conversations. I used to participate, and then my husband, whatever, like we'd like vent about what's going on. And so they start venting about their husband, and then they start venting about my husband and start saying things. And we had some money go missing from our cash box at the store. And this was kind of oriented around the conversation. And the person observed that like my husband had been on shift when that money went missing. And they said, I'm not saying he's stupid, but... And I turned and just said, good. And it rang out between us. Oh, I have a new boundary. No one will ever talk about my husband like that in front of me ever again. And the old rules, old way that I used to be, old behaviors I used to enable and things I would tolerate and feed into, that shit's dead and buried. It stops right now. And I realized that suddenly I didn't care what that person thought as much as I cared about validating and protecting my own husband. And that was a first for me because I would just silently like sell a loved one down the river because I didn't want to disagree with anyone else around me. Like if someone was ragging on someone, I would just nod along, even if internally I disagreed with it. So that was a huge turning point, and it just went on from there, and many examples.
Is that where the conversation ended when you said good?
Mm-hmm.
See? And you didn't have to be like super snappy or rude about it. You said one word.
And then it would go to, somebody would walk in and say, oh, you look tired today. And I would go, ouch. Or like, that didn't feel good to hear. And just let it ring. And every time I did that, I now understand that I was being coherent between internal feeling and outward verbalization. And that coherence was creating safety for my body.
You were showing up for you.
I had my own back. It was like a big sister feeling. I felt like, oh no, I got me. And it caused a ton of friction, as you can imagine, because all of a sudden, the person that never said anything is saying things now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. When you first step into boundaries, it can be hard.
And it's so funny because I always say that now that I have boundaries, I never get to use them. What happens is the knowledge that you will enforce your boundaries becomes this protective shield that's out in front of you. It's like baked into your aura and how you carry yourself. And no one freaking tries me anymore. And I'm like, dang it. I'm so good at this now.
They feel the energy. The vibe is there. So they're like, we're just going to let that one go.
I don't even get to practice.
So since you've been doing this work, you feel different physically. Like, tell us some more about what that looks like. What's changed, not just in how you feel mentally and emotionally, but how you feel physically.
Well, it was interesting because part of lack of worthiness was that I wasn't really taking care of myself. I'm into whole food. I'm pretty crunchy. So I was doing that, but I would do things like let myself be really hungry, let myself operate really tired. I was just last, like I just came last, and that's very typical for women and for moms and whatnot. And I never worked out, and I just wasn't, like I felt okay, so I kind of got away with it. But then I start doing the worthiness work, and I'm looking around going, this isn't good enough anymore. And in fact, really started to feel that getting my body right was part of the next level of like spiritual development for me, was that like, this is a channel and I need to get the body right so that the brain's right so that I can be a clear channel and connect and receive what I'm supposed to connect to and receive. So started working out, and that's been like life-changing. I lost some very old weight, not just baby weight, but like just that weight that I post-college, my whole 30s. But I started having some symptoms, and I'm still having symptoms that I did not have before this whole awakening. And I know it's all related. And so I'm really like kind of coming to you now in the midst of dealing with some of the debris that's been kicked up in my body that had simply been suppressed.
Mm-hmm. Have you read or consumed any of Gabor Mate's work?
Love. Yeah.
Right? Like the story that jumped out at me as I was reading When the Body Says No, and this is long before I knew I grew a cancer, but was when he was talking about the study they did where they interviewed women who were being biopsied for breast cancer, and with 94% accuracy, they could tell by the way they either did or did not process their anger, which biopsies would be positive and which would be negative. I'm like, oh, hi, hello, repressed anger.
Yep. And now I'm dealing with essentially like a sluggish detox system, a sluggish liver, which in traditional Chinese medicine is associated with repressed anger and resentment. So while I do feel that I've metabolized a lot of my anger, I don't know that my body totally knows that yet. And so I'm considering it kind of like, it's like I walked into a muddy creek and I stirred up all the dust and it's muddy right now. And I'm having, I'm having rashes mainly is what's going on, which is when I'm trying to clear extra estrogen from my system because my liver's like, I can't handle this. And then having, when I'm making cortisol instead of progesterone, stuff like that. So I'm considering this kind of just like another phase in this whole healing journey and really trying to give myself what I need. But I'm like, okay, it makes sense that I have to pay the piper a little bit. Like I ran on such intense stress and shame for 33 years. I treated my body nightmarishly. Like I used to drive from Pennsylvania to Montana straight. I would drive for 22 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
Like shocking. Like I look back at how I lived my life and was like, girl, the self-betrayal that I would just routinely engage in.
Like I'm just still like speechless over driving from Pennsylvania to Montana straight.
I had this intensity to me and I still do. It's like I was so desperate to get out of the circumstances I was in that it was like I was just at war in my daily life. I once went on a 10,000-mile solo tour when I was a songwriter. It's essentially like circling the country twice. Like there's not even that much miles in this country. And I lived on an $8 a day food budget. And this was just my 20s. And so when I look back, I'm like, oh, honey, oh my gosh. Like, okay, we're going to have some rashes now. We're going to deal with this.
Just want to hug you.
I just want to hug you. Oh, it's horrible.
So yesterday in my stories, I was talking about how healing isn't linear. It's like this perpetual tornado slide that we ride. And we're going to come back around and bump into wounds that we've done some good healing work on. The difference is that when we hit them, like we have more capacity to move through them faster. So you want to dive into that a little bit, what that looks like or what that has looked like for you? Maybe, the rash, because you had been rash free for a while.
Mm-hmm. I thought I kicked it. I was getting a little smug about it. Yeah. And what's interesting about the spiral, like if you picture it, when you come back around to where you were, you're in a slightly different perspective. You're maybe a little bit wider out on the spiral or further in. So you can see where you were and you're in a different place, even though it feels familiar. And so I've just been thinking about that a lot because essentially what I have going on is kind of like pre-autoimmune kind of vibes. And that seems to be a winter thing. And that's very common. I was talking to my naturopath. She's like, oh yeah, it's immune season. Like once the sun comes out, everyone's rashes and weird stuff goes away. So there's that. And also kind of realizing you can't short circuit any of this. You don't get to skip ahead. It's not Mario Kart. Like you just got to kind of ride your spiral and be in your process with it and have patience. And that's like my word of the year and something that I've always struggled with. Like I have strong instincts and they're good instincts. And so it's like, well, I know what I want. I'll have it now. Tomorrow actually will work fine as well. And so realizing like, whoa, I'm in a body process that this could be years. I mean, maybe not, but it could be years. And okay, like going back to acceptance and how even neutrality, how powerful neutrality is. Like that's something I'm really wrapping my head around of I don't have to have feelings about everything. I don't even have to have feelings about this rash, really. I can just observe it and be like, oh, guess I should support myself. This is data. Okay. Let's really make sure we're sleeping well. Let's make sure the food's dialed.
Yeah. So cold sores.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been, over the course of the last 6 months or so, really digging into talking to my body, affirming my body. I tell her every day, I love you. You are strong and able. You have the wisdom to keep us safe and healthy. And when I feel a little tingle of a cold sore, where I used to like say a lot of cuss words, I'm like mouth of the sailor cuss words about them. Now I'm like, hey, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Oh.
And they stay so small. Like I have one right now. Can you see it?
Yeah.
They stay so small and they heal up so fast. And like, maybe I need more data points, but I'm not about to quit welcoming them anytime soon.
It's the most beautiful perspective. I was listening to, I think it's the comedian Pete Holmes, and he like dabbles as kind of a philosopher. And he was talking about how his mantra is, yes, thank you. And so like anything that happens, it's like, oh, yes, thank you. I'm really finding how things are for you, even when they don't feel like they're for you, especially when they don't feel like they're for you. And like there's some things in my life that have been, challenges for years, or things I didn't get but wanted for years. And I'm looking at them now going, yes, thank you. I see why, like it either wasn't really what I wanted. It really wasn't what I'm for, what I'm here for to do, my skill set, or like I wasn't ready. And that's a big one. It's like just not being ready for some of the things that I've said that I want.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And saying this, like, I don't want to give anybody the idea that I still don't think things suck sometimes. Because when this cold sore came, I was like, dang it, right at first. But then I was like, okay, this is what we've got and you're here. And so we're going to live together for a little while. But I used to hate the term toxic positivity. And you know why I hated it? Because I was toxically positive.
Everything's a mirror.
Yeah, everything's a mirror. Like, I would always bright side everything, find the silver lining in everything. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, unless you're completely shoving down the suck of it all, which is what I was doing. And I was storing all of that up in my body.
Actually, it's not being neutral. It's not accepting. It's like trying to like force down the feeling and twist it forcefully, which is self-betrayal if it's self-betrayal. Like only you can know that. There's people that are genuinely positive no matter what, and that's maybe their default setting.
No, I had a lot of people fooled. Oh, you're so calm. You're so even keel. You're never riled.
Everyone would tell me, you're so nice. I'm like, I know in my heart I'm not nice. Why am I giving this perception? Like I'm kind. I think I'm fair. But nice is like, ugh, I don't want to be nice.
Like, actually, I can say this now. I didn't know it then. Actually, no, I'm numb. I don't feel things. Fold them up and tuck them down.
Mine was, I'm just afraid. I'm just ashamed. I just want you to like me at all costs, even though I don't like you. It's like crazy too, where I would be like, well, I have to be universally liked by everyone, even people that I don't respect. And one of the things like I've started doing, because I've also accepted, like, I'm a polarizing person. I think that's part of my like design, my blueprint. If you get into my charts, got that Scorpio energy. I love to poke a bear. I love to kind of go, you know what? And like, not everyone loves that. So as I've moved through the world, it's like, it's been ironic because I was such a people pleaser and wanted validation so bad, but am naturally divisive and would get a lot of like, I don't like you from the world, even strangers. And my first reaction to that used to be, oh, they don't like me. And I've just been really leaning into, well, I don't like you. Like, watch your mouth around me. You better not come in here. Oh, we're in a fight then? Well, I'm mad. Like, all right, we're doing this. Let's have a few enemies.
Yeah. That's something that I'm still actually working on myself, because with that Enneagram 9-ness, I still just like, I was reading something recently and it illuminated that I actually maybe do like conflict. And I was talking to Tom about it. I'm like, I don't think this is right. I don't like conflict. And he's like, don't you? Don't you?
Yeah, the husband will know.
I'm like, maybe sometimes I do. But when I think of that kind of conflict, it's like blatant, like in your face, and that's not my style. My style is quieter. Like, I'm just going to ask you a lot of questions and get you thinking. And I'm going to say things subtly and very kindly. I actually once had an intern tell me that you can chew my ass and somehow I want to thank you for it.
Oh my gosh, it's such a gift. That's so amazing. I don't have that. And I was raised by someone who was like really mean. And so one of the skill gaps that I've had that I'm trying to fill is that like when I first started being not confrontational, but direct, when I first started like saying no, having a boundary, being direct about things that didn't work for me, I had no language. I had either pushover language or mean bitch language, essentially, because that's what had been directed towards me. So I would have to like write scripts out of how to say things, instead of being like, are you crazy? I can't believe, whatever. And so I've just been learning. I've just been, giving myself some more tools with language. And that's been helpful. And it also realizing like I'm going to be bad at this at first.
That's kind of interesting that you say I either had pushover or bitch. Because bitch is what you witnessed. And pushover is what you had to do to survive that.
Yep. And it's funny because, Justin was really the only one that would ever see that other side. And he's very mellow and hates conflict. And he would say to me, like, you need to lower your voice. And I'm like, it's not even raised yet. We haven't even, this isn't even the start of the fight. And it's so funny now because I realize how much I was playing into that because I wouldn't freaking say anything because I would self-abandon for like 3 months and then it would come uncorked in this volcano of drama. And so it's amazing what saying something in the moment in a kind way will do for your relationship.
Yeah. Because you're not holding it in for your safe person and then dumping on them what is not like has nothing to do with them. But also I did the same thing for a long time with Tom.
Yeah.
So what are you doing next? What are you working on right now?
I'm in this really cool container. I'm in a couple containers. But one of the focuses is emotional maturity and mastering your emotions. And so I've had a few opportunities lately where like I held a boundary, got a huge response, kind of a disproportionate response. And I had the opportunity to take a couple different paths. There's like this sort of, the bratty, the one-upsmanship, the I'll tell you. And then the other path is like, hold the line. Speak from your place of calmness, strength, and maturity. And so that's what I'm working on is like maintaining that stasis and in my relationships as well. So not showing up like professionally at work and then be a brat to my husband. Like my emotions, being in control of them, being consistent with them, and moving beyond like old, outdated coping mechanisms, immaturity, brattiness. And that doesn't mean that I don't honor those instincts when they come up. I'm not stuffing them down. Like I've actually been thinking a lot about my inner brat and how I love her. And like she was how I learned to say no at first. No, the way a toddler will say it. Like that was my kind of maturity level and how much that served me and how like I kind of miss her sometimes. Like, so I've been thinking about that a lot and also being like, and thank you for your service. We're moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. Like being able to not take on emotional responsibility that isn't yours because their feelings are valid and they're not yours.
And they have nothing to do with me. Like, I'm creating my own world. They're creating their own world. Almost nothing has anything to do with me except whatever I see through my eyes, which has everything to do with me. And that's all I can work on and affect. And I'm getting really into sun and light as like a way to help me get to that next level of maturity and insight. Because on the sort of functional medicine side of everything I'm into and looking at my rash and doing the research of like histamines and hormones and all this stuff, why does it kick up in the winter for everyone? And just kind of coming down to like cellular energy, mitochondrial energy, and that I just don't think I have quite enough. And so like fueling myself with kind of the basics, and sunlight is the thing that I've really deprived myself of and not figured out how to like either avoid or burn. Like that was kind of my two settings. And so learning how to like live in Montana, get the sun I need to get in the winter, get the sun I need to get in the summer in a smart way, build a solar callus, morning sun to prime myself for the afternoon sun, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I've been sort of dabbling in that also and not wearing, I have super blue eyes, like light. And so when the sun hits them, it reflects off my iris right into my pupil. And it's like, so I almost never go outside without sunglasses. And I've been slowly building up that stamina, like not wearing my sunglasses in the morning so I can get the light. And I mean, now sometimes I'll forget them and I'm driving and I'm like, I actually need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I wear my blue light blockers to drive at night because the LEDs are so bad.
Oh, that's a great, I mean, I have mine on right now, but I should get a pair for the car.
Yeah, I'm totally obsessed. And I'm still working on my phone addiction. I'm still untangling my dopamine stuff. It's not like I did my healing and then I didn't have any of those tendencies. I think I'm back, speaking of the spiral, like, okay, and we're back to the original quote unquote problem, which is really just a mirror and an opportunity. And I found that the more connection I get with my son and my family, the less I need the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the phone is connection seeking, kind of. It's like cotton candy. It's like cheap connection seeking. And so I have like some new parameters. I basically have decided I'm not going to open DMs anymore, which as a creator is like, ugh.
I'm glad you opened mine.
Yeah, sorry. In future, just text me because you're in my primary folder.
Oh,
so
good.
Primary is safe. But Jen, I'm like, I'm sorry, no new friends. I can't because the degree to which I still get derailed, it's like there's like always a landmine in there. You open, there's 10 DMs. You never know which one. It's like Russian roulette with your emotions, but one of them is going to trigger a shadow. And you're like, it's a Tuesday. I have shit to do. Like, I can't get derailed with this. And until I master my emotions, which is what I'm working on, I am not allowing myself to play in this sandbox over here that's not good for me.
Oh my gosh, yes. So much. The phone, I don't even have mine in here. Oh yeah, I do. It's just not where I usually put it. But like when I went from working full time at the feed yard and being around adults all day, every day and this was 13 years ago, to being a stay-at-home mom with 2 children plus ranch hand, which I hadn't ever ranched in my life. I grew up in a feedlot. That's what I studied in college. That's where I worked for 7 years out of college. And then coming to the ranch and being so physically secluded and only having the kids to talk to all day. Like I was on Facebook all the time and Tom was like, why are you on your phone all the time? And I'm like, because I need adult interaction. And still today, when we have, like when we're playing chess or cards or whatever with the kids or it's supper time, the phone is not even a thing. But as soon as we're done with that connection, then yeah, I'm reaching for it too.
I feel. I have good days and bad days with it. And I'm like, okay. And I notice, I do all my little stacked habits. If I get the morning sun, if I don't look at my phone right away, if I connect with my son, the sun and my son, it's like a good phone day. And then there's bad phone days. And I'm just trying to take it as data. I don't really shame myself anymore. Like, that's not on the buffet. That's not on the menu. And also realizing how grateful I am to my phone, how much it's done for me. And looking back on my original patterning with it, I was probably 13, 14, 15 when I got my first phone that had texts. I was an isolated kid living out an emotionally challenging upbringing. And it was like a light. It was literally a light in my life and figuratively that created like connection where I needed it and when I needed it. And so on all the opportunities as a musician, it was my navigation system. It booked me gigs. It got me an audience. Like, it helped build our business today. So every time I'm like, my phone, I'm doing so bad with it. It's like, and thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
Like season 1. Yeah.
Well, okay. So maybe you didn't see the part where Jamie Tart, because I think it's in season 3. Ted's like, what would you tell your dad right now? He's like, F you and thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing ever is just this or that. It's always thank you and F you.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Like, I look back on the adaptations that I had to learn that are now like superpowers. Like, dang, I don't know that I would go back and unexperience that childhood. Shoot. Like, it was just been the most unbelievable teacher and has like set me up in life, has served me so well. And also gave me, on one hand, me and my brother, we were kind of beat down by it. On the other hand, had an iron will. Like, when someone kind of berates you and then it doesn't work, like at a certain point, you're like, I don't believe you anymore. Like, your words can't hurt me. And I just feel like I was able to develop this. I always think of like my actual spine as a sword. And it's like this thing just flowing through me that is totally unbreakable, which I think, my childhood gave me. I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful way to look at that. Because I think a lot of people, when we start talking about healing and childhood wounds and stuff like that, they just want to default to, well, I had a great childhood. Yeah, and because we're all human, we hurt each other. It's not this or that.
And every now and then I look at people who had a great childhood and I'm like they're zoo animals. Like, that's the thing that I still feel envy or jealousy of, when it's like a family that can just like all gather around the TV room and eat snacks and like.
But you're breaking the cycle. You're a cycle breaker. So maybe you didn't have that as a kid, but that's what you're going to have.
I so pray. And every time my son, like, he never goes to play in his bedroom. He's like a living room kid. He wants to actually be in the kitchen. If I'm in the kitchen, that's where he wants to be. And I'm like, whoa, like, I have to cultivate this. This is the beginning of like our family culture, and I need to treasure it and protect it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I'm so thankful that you came on and visited with us today. And hopefully we'll have you back again sometime, because I feel like we could just talk about all of this stuff for like infinite amounts of time.
Getting warmed up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if people want to follow you on Instagram, but not DM you, or on the internet anywhere, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm Big Sky Caroline on most of the platforms. And our website is littlecreekmontana.com. And we run really cool retreats at cowgirlcampmontana.com.
I actually have one of your beeswax. It's like
Wraps?
Wrap. That's the word I'm looking for. I love it.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm like, beeswax is kind of like my thing this year. As much beeswax as I can integrate into my life. I have so many candles, so many wraps. It's in my skincare.
Beeswax is the vibe for the year.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Can't wait to have you back.
Can't wait to be back. Mwah.
Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful for you. If you found value in this episode, I'd love for you to share with others who might also benefit from tuning in. Share by word of mouth, send it in a text, take a screenshot and post it on social media, or share however you prefer. And if you haven't already, hit the follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, draw good movement.